Eventually, in the late 1800s and early 1900s, in many communities in the Ozarks, you have singing conventions that are established. And these are groups of people who've generally been trained at these singing schools in shape note singing, who come together and form a convention, and they hold periodic singing conventions where maybe once every 3 months or twice a year or something like that, they'll get together at some designated place and just sing together. And they'll generally sing out of these shape note books. And singing conventions still exist today. There are still lots of singing conventions scattered around the rural Ozarks today, where people, get together on a Sunday afternoon, maybe 3 or 4 times a year, and just sing these songs. And they sing gospel songs. They sing sacred songs. Eventually, some of these singing schools and the singing conventions morph into more permanent singing schools. And one of the more unique that we have in the Ozarks, it's really the only one of its kind that I know of that's still in existence today, is in a little town called Brockwell, Arkansas, where the Brockwell Gospel Music School is. It's been operating there since 1947, when it was founded by a young singing school teacher named Orgel Mason, who had actually gone off to Texas and had trained in a bigger singing school that was operated by the Stamps-Baxter Music Company. Anybody familiar with the Stamps-Baxter Music Company? Have you ever gone to a church that had those little Heavenly Highway hymnals? You've heard of the Heavenly Highway hymnals? Those were published by the Stamps-Baxter Music Company. Probably if you weren't raised Baptist or Pentecostal or Country Methodist or something like that, you may never have had any reason to come across a Stamps-Baxter hymnal, but that was a big company that produced lots of these hymnals. He trained there, came back, and with the help of a local singing convention, they set up this singing school. And the way it still operates today, they've got a website. You can go look at it. They exist. They have a website, so they must, right? 2 weeks in June, 2 weeks every summer, they operate this school, and there's several buildings now as part of the school grounds. And children go there, and adults. Some adults can go to these things as well. You go there and you learn the rudiments of shape note music, and you learn some of the just rudiments of music education, period. Most of the people who teach at the gospel music school today are also trained in regular music as well, and some of them are music teachers in their real life. So this is it's a neat little school that carries on that old tradition of gospel shape note music, and they train several dozens of kids every summer. There used to be several of these schools around, but that's about the only one that I know of that still exists in the Ozarks. Most of them have disappeared years ago. But kind of a neat thing, and a neat part of Ozarks music history. And speaking of Ozarks gospel music history, one of the most prolific authors of gospel songs in American history wrote many of his songs while living here in the Ozarks. If you haven't heard of Albert E. Brumley, you've certainly heard some of his songs. Almost everybody's heard I'll Fly Away. Somebody mentioned Oh Brother, Where Art Thou earlier. I believe that was one of the featured songs on the movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, I'll Fly Away. Every act in country music and gospel music has recorded I'll Fly Away at some point. Turn your radio on. There's a lot, you could go down the list, and there are a lot of songs that if you didn't recognize the title of the song, you'd probably recognize it when it started playing. he was credited with writing, I believe, over 700 songs, publishing over 700 songs in his lifetime, which is a lot of songwriting. And most of them were gospel songs. Not all of them were. Some of them were more, now you wouldn't really call them pop songs, but sentimental songs, that kind of thing. And Brumley, you can see, was raised in eastern Oklahoma, but lived most of his life in Powell, Missouri. Does anybody know where Powell is? It's down in McDonald County in the southwest part of the state. It's just a little spot in the road, but that's where his operation was, and his publishing company was there in Powell, Missouri. That's pretty much all that was there, and that was his headquarters. And later in life, Brumley founded an annual singing convention or a singing sort of convention in more the sense that we think of convention, where a lot of people go someplace and meet for some kind of reason and do something. It started in northwest Arkansas, in Springdale, Arkansas, and eventually moved to Lebanon, Missouri, where it's still held today. The Albert E. Brumley Gospel Music Sing, which is a 2 or 3 day event held every year. And so that's part of his legacy, and part of what ties the Ozarks into this huge body of gospel music. And I would say there are probably more people in the Ozarks today who are into gospel music and listen to this kind of gospel music than there probably are who are into child ballads and broadsides and things like that, even if we may be better known for the, what we generally consider folk music, the child ballads and the old songs like that.